Everything's been different all the day long. Lovely things have happened. Nothing has gone wrong. Nobody has scolded me. Everyone has smiled. Isn't it delicious to be a birthday child? The Birthday Child by Rose Fileman. My name is Jess.
My name is Hannah.
And this is a very specially dedicated episode. The ever so lovely Joseph, my teeny tiny little coolest nephew ever, has turned 1 year old. He is officially not an infant. And so today we're celebrating that by talking about children's books.
Woo! Happy birthday, Joe.
Yay! Happy birthday, Joe.
What a cutie.
Yeah, so it was just his birthday party. Now it's his birthday. Here we are. We are going to go into, our favorite books to read for story time, read for bedtime, to, books for when he starts reading, starts picking up his own books. And just kind of cover all of our favorite children's novels, books, series, etc. But first, how are you?
I'm good. Not to make it about me, but I did graduate this past weekend.
Yes, she did!
I graduated! So, I now officially have a Bachelor of Arts in English Literature and Mathematics, for anyone who has ever wanted to know. And so that's super exciting. And I also got into the Bachelor of Education program for grad school so that I can go be a teacher.
Woo!
Woo! So it's been a lot. It's been a rough, crazy, wild, overwhelming couple of months. So sorry that the podcast has fallen to the wayside, to everyone involved and everyone listening, because, your editor was busy crashing out. And so, so it was just like a lot, and it was a good thing. In the end, it was a good thing. Like, first it was anxiety waiting for my grad application to go through. Then it was like actually preparing for the thing, doing the ceremony. And then my mom threw this big party, and like all my family flew in from Winnipeg because it's just like, a big deal, and everyone flew out. And my mom invited everyone we've ever known to this party, and everyone brought me like cards and gifts, which was a surprise. I didn't know that anyone was doing that. And then I arrived and they had already framed my degree and like put it up nicely on the wall. I was like, oh. And everyone wrote me these, like, my grandma bought these like graduation cards, like advice for the grad kind of a thing, and everyone filled one out. And so they all like wrote me notes, and it was really, really sweet. And like, it was just really overwhelming in a positive way, obviously, but still overwhelming because, like, obviously, like, I know that I am very loved and I'm very blessed to have the people that I have in my life, and I'm very grateful for them always. But to see it all in front of me all at once like that was, like, I can't even describe how that felt. And I just, like, I'm going to send thank you notes to everyone for coming and for supporting me, and for, like, everyone in that room had some hand in me becoming who I am and achieving what I achieved. And so it was just like really momentous and great. And I'm glad that I did it because I was feeling really low, really down. This like weird grieving process was happening because like the degree is done, and now like everything I knew about my life for the last 6 years is over. And so I was just like not feeling it. And then as soon as everyone got here and the celebration started, I'm glad that we did that, because otherwise I would have regretted it if I didn't make a big deal about it.
I'm happy you did it too.
Yeah. So it was good. It was lovely. So that after that, now I'm just like coming down from it, settling into a new routine. I'm working full time right now for the first time, because I've never been able to work full time before. And so it's just settling in. I got some new paints as a grad gift, And I'm trying to get into my hobbies and the things that I enjoy a little bit more, and to just like enjoy this few months break before I go back to school for grad school. So I'm doing good. I'm just tired. Tired in a good way though. Like, you know, when you've had a really long day but it was a really good day.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about the last week. And then a bunch of my family went home today, and so it's just like, oh, and I'm gonna miss them. It's like a whole thing, but I'm doing good overall. Just letting it sink in a little bit, feeling a little bit like weird, but good. So, anyways, enough about me. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. I've just been really busy, but nothing really new, you know? So, working lots. There's been a lot going on at work, so that's just taken a lot of, I guess mental focus lately. I've been reading lots, getting ready for our Pride Month readathon, getting stuff prepped for that, so that's exciting. And I finished a book today. I did not like it very much.
Sorry.
But I digress there. We'll get into that another day. It was fine. And speaking of hobbies, actually, so when I was younger, I used to have a container that had tons and tons of teeny tiny little beads in it, and they were all assorted. Like, there was hundreds of different beads in this thing, and my neurospicy ass would just organize them for hours upon hours upon hours as pure entertainment, and I freaking loved it. I craved that shit, okay? It was wonderful. And so, in an effort to appease the inner child in me, I went out and bought beads. And so we've been getting back into that, and that's been really fun because I learned a new technique and it's going really well, and I'm making a bracelet right now that looks like cherry blossoms. So, turtle.
That's cute.
Yeah.
Oh, that. I remember sorting beads with you actually to sleepover ones, because because you were like up before me, and then I woke up and you were just sat there sorting beads, and I'm like, hey, like, what's good? Like, what's up? And you were like, oh, I'm sorry. And you started to like put it away or something. I was like, nah, it's okay. Hand me some. And I just started sorting beads.
Yeah, and that was at like your house as well. So I would like bring a container of beads with me.
And I woke up and I'm like,
weird.
What is going on? But okay, I guess. And then we just sat there. I remember because it was like the most, like, it was bizarre. Like we just sat in silence. No. It was bizarre that we just like sat in silence and just did it, but like it felt right. I was like, okay, sure.
It did.
It was good.
I love sorting. Oh my God. I love it so much. And like my boss has realized that and utilizes it.
Yeah.
Today, she pulls me aside and she goes, Jess, I need you to design this whiteboard to be able to have weekly statistics on it. And I went, Shabana, I would love to.
Say less. I'm in.
I'm in.
I am there for it.
Yeah. Busy but good.
Good. Yeah, I know. We've like barely talked.
Yeah. It's been a wild couple weeks.
Yeah. But you know what? It's over. We did it.
We did. And now
I'm so ready for this. Like, I've been missing you. I'm like, oh, I can't wait to see Jess.
Wow. Well, you can flirt with me when we're not recording. See you then. Now it is time for a trip down nostalgia lane with our badly annotated children's books. So, we're gonna do it in what would be chronological order, basically, for the age that you would consume these books in regularly. Because while I went full children's books, Hannah went, starting to read. And so together we have covered his entire childhood until he's about like 7 or so.
Yeah.
So happy birthday, Joe. Here we go.
We have your assigned reading all set for the next
6 years.
Yeah. Listen, there was a miscommunication, and when I say miscommunication, I mean lack of communication. We did not discuss.
It says children's books in the name.
I know, but having studied children's literature is everything from 0 to 17. So I was like, okay, I'll go for middle grade, I guess. And so that's what I did.
Yeah, Joe is 1, so I went, what would I read if I were a 1-year-old?
Right. So you went Rex for now, and I went Rex for later, and also things for his mom to read to him that will not be the most boring thing in the world for her. So.
Hey. Fantastic Mr. Fox is entertaining for everybody, okay? That is not age specific. Roald Dahl is a man of the people.
I actually don't like Fantastic Mr. Fox at all, but that's
okay. Oh my god, okay. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, James and the Giant Peach, BFG, Ezio Trot, choose one.
The only one
Matilda.
I like there, the only two I like
twits.
there are BFG and Matilda. I'm not a big Roald Dahl fan when it comes to children's books.
He's one of my favorite children's authors, and I know it's because of nostalgia. I was a big fan of him when I was a child reading these books. I love the art style and the stories. I just always found it scratched an itch in my brain. It caught my attention. And now it's just burned in there forever.
Also, just knowing how morbid you grew up to be, I feel like Roald Dahl makes sense for you.
Yeah, a little. A little.
A little. It checks out.
I mean, Mr. Fox was being literally hunted.
Yeah, knowing everything I know about you, I feel like Roald Dahl makes sense for you. And that, actually tells me so much about you. When you said my favorite movie ever is Nightmare Before Christmas, I should have known. But then now, with Roald Dahl, I'm like, okay, I get it. Understood. I understand the media that you were exposed to as a child.
Yeah.
And I mean that with so much love and in such a positive way because I think it's really cool. What? I literally just called you cool.
Yeah, and I panicked. Thanks.
So the first book, Fantastic Mr. Fox.
Yes, because might as well start with the classic.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, of course, we've got the ones that I feel like everyone, at least in our age group, generation, whatever word you choose, would know is The Very Hungry Caterpillar by Eric Carle.
Oh my god,
another
that shit is so good.
Classic. Yep. He ate everyone in sight. Mass murder. Perfect.
Oh my god. Yeah, Roald Dahl really checks out.
I've also got, this is actually one of my top favorites, is Where the Wild Things Are by Maurice Sendak. I feel like this one is just the epitome of a childhood classic, at least to me. It holds a very core memory in my little pea brain, and I love the art style of it. I love, this kid who I believe he was put in his room because he wasn't getting dinner. He was being a little shit, so to speak, and so. Then, though, his room starts turning into the forest. Okay.
A dream.
And then he's on a boat.
Not a dream.
And then he's on an island. And then there are monsters.
Mm-hmm.
AKA wild things. And so, he becomes king.
Naturally, instantly, of course.
Exactly, exactly. And they want to eat him up. They love him that much. And then he goes home and then he wakes up. Good book. Good book. So, yeah, are you familiar with Where the Wild Things Are?
Yes, but I didn't read it as a kid.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't read it as a kid. I mean, I remember Dr. Seuss, and I remember Berenstain Bears, and like that kind of thing, like really, really, really early in childhood, like preschool, like those are what I remember. And then I just sort of like leaped right past everything else.
Fair.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of, you've segued us beautifully into Dr. Seuss because one, fish, two fish, red fish, blue fish.
Ooh. That was...
Two, I mean, The Cat in the Hat, hello.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, name a Dr. Seuss, you're bound to have heard of it at some point. Likely.
Mm-hmm.
At least in passing. Like, I put One Fish, Two Fish on the list just because it's, you know, the one that everyone just immediately thinks of when it comes to, like, Dr. Seuss books to read an infant, basically. But, yeah, I don't even know that it really has a story.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, when I think Dr. Seuss, I think, like, his version of the ABCs.
You know what my favorite one, though? Horton Hears a Who.
Yeah, that's a good one. And,
that's a good one.
I always remember, oh God, it has something to do with, it's like this house, and they're going through all the things in the house, and then there's something about going bump in the night or something like that. I don't remember what one that is at all. And whatever one,
no idea.
whichever one where a thneed comes into play.
Oh hell yeah, that is in the Lorax.
Yeah, I like the Lorax.
Everybody needs a thneed. It's a fine thing that all people need.
And then, isn't the Grinch?
Yes,
Dr. Seuss as well.
Yes, it is.
I love the Grinch so much. Dr. Seuss, I don't know. Those books were my childhood. Like, I don't know, love them. Actually, I think I have a copy of Where the Wild Things Are. If I'm thinking about it.
Do you really?
Yeah, I think I do.
You should go read it.
I think I have. Like, I've read it at some point in my life. It was just like not. It was not one of my like go-tos as a kid. It's one of my mom's favorites. I know that. So that's probably why I have it. But yeah. I don't know. Also, like, my dad would always just tell me stories from his own brain. Like, he would just make them up as he went. And so, like, that was my bedtime story experience. Was it was about this character named Guinevere, and he would always tailor the stories to be like Guinevere would be facing something in her like fantasy world that I was dealing with at the time, to like basically teach me how to problem solve and like, you know, face my own stuff, and then I wouldn't feel alone because Guinevere was going through the same things.
Cute.
Yeah, I have a really good dad.
Yeah. Aww. Cute.
Yeah, so those are like my like main storytime memories. I don't really remember a lot of like the like picture books and stuff.
Well, for those that do remember the picture books, you'll probably remember one that had a blue cover, a toilet on the cover, and a small child covered in toilet paper. And it was called Love You Forever by Robert Munsch.
You just unlocked something in my brain. That's what that face was. Yeah. It's just like I haven't thought about that book in forever and ever, but I can picture it. I feel like I probably just
unlocked a lot of memories for people.
No, for real. As soon as you started describing the cover, I'm like, oh shit. Like, I literally, I do know what book you're talking about. That's crazy.
Yeah, love you forever, love you for always. As long as I'm living, my baby you'll be.
My mom used to sing that to me.
Robert Munsch, baby.
Whoa. I had no idea. Crazy.
There we go. We're unlocking things here.
Yeah, whoa. Like, what the heck? Like, first you went in on Guinevere, and that's why I don't remember picture books, because I remember my dad's stories. And then now you got me with, like, my mom's lullabies. Like, oh my gosh, what the heck?
Yeah, I feel like that one is just the most touching like children's story there is, where it's like no matter what age you are, if you read that book, you're gonna like feel a little something.
Yeah.
Like it's so sweet. It's basically just this mother that loves her son throughout their entire lives.
Yeah.
Period. It's just so wholesome.
Aw.
I also read a lot of Robert Munch as a child.
I think I did too in school. I remember it being read to me in kindergarten.
Oh, not even like, so I grew up around my Nana and Papa a lot, and so my Nana and Papa had like 8 Robert Munch books, and like there used to be Robert Munch books where they were like the really big hardcover ones with where the front of the book was basically like a Wimmelbilder, if you know what that is. That's a crazy word, but
Yeah,
it's basically
what?
when there's um an image is made up of smaller images, so you can look at the image in pieces and still have a full image, or you can take it in all as a whole and still have it be an image as a whole. Wimmelbilder, fun word. And so
Okay.
the cover of all these books looked like that, where it's basically like, Where's Waldo? Wimmelbilders.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I believe you. I'm with you. I'm following. You go.
Okay, great. Okay, great. So all of these Robert Munch books have covers like that, and I just remember them so fondly. And it's like all of the art style was this like soft watercolory palette. There was a character that was shaped like a worm that I remember, and he had on this little hat. And no, this was Richard Scarry's. He was from Richard Scarry, but that's by Robert Munch, isn't it?
Girl, I don't know. You lost me.
Oh fuck! I am on it. I am on a wave. And
Who? Wait, hold on. Did you say Richard Scarry's?
yeah.
No, that's a different guy.
Okay, well, Richard Scarry's is another one.
Oh my god, yeah, you're talking about Richard Scarry's Seek and Find.
Yeah. There's a worm in it, right?
Yes, with a little hat.
With a little hat.
And it's like a cat. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's another one.
What is going on? I came so prepared and now I feel like I'm in a fever dream. You've been unlocking my memories and forcing me into this memory lane with Richard Scarry and his weird worm, and I'm just so confused. Happy birthday, Joe.
Happy birthday, Joe.
Robert Munch and Richard Scarry. Okay.
Yep, yep. And next we're going into Berenstain Bears and the Mandela, in fact.
Oh, so we're just going right past that. Cool.
Spell for me, Berenstain.
It's Berenstain.
No. Wrong.
What?
Wrong.
What is it?
Berenstain. It's the first part of the word people don't.
People also think it's Steen too instead of Stain, right?
Yeah, that's another one, but the whole bear one I think is what really trips people up because it's the bears.
Yeah, I was so confident because I had Stain right.
It's actually named after the authors Stan and Jan Berenstain. Berenstain.
Okay.
Berenstain.
Alrighty.
Yeah. So if you don't know what the Berenstain Bears are, it's a family of 4. It's basically the American dream, but in bear. They live in a tree. It's wonderful. There's like a million of these books, and they just have shenanigans. There's one about a giant pumpkin. There's one about running with scissors. There's one about everything, okay? There's a bully character. It's like The Simpsons for children.
Yeah. Yeah. I still have all of my Berenstain Bears. I have all of my Berenstain Bears. I have all of my Dr. Seuss. I have all of my Franklin and Friends. I don't know if you ever read those.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I recall.
Yeah. Yeah.
Also of all the Little Critters by Mercer Mayer. Mm-hmm. Oh, my God. I loved A Little Critter. Have you ever read A Little Critter?
I don't know that one.
You should look it up to see it for reference right now.
A little critter?
Yeah, just look up Little Critter.
A little critter
Mercer
books.
Mayer.
Okay, here we go.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I've seen those. I don't
He's
think
just
I
a
own
little
any.
guy.
He's just a little guy. It's honestly
It's just a
giving
little
Wild
guy.
Things.
It's giving Wild Things. Yeah.
Okay, I'm sensing a
TBH,
theme.
it's like slightly younger Wild Things.
Okay.
Because like there's the little critter and they're mostly about him. Sometimes he's a sister, but it's basically just like this kid learning life lessons where it's teach morals to your children type books.
Mm-hmm.
But in a fun way. Like there's little critter goes to work. There's like little critter does some shit. I don't know, but
That's definitely not one of them.
could be. Little critter runs away. Little critter goes to the beach. Like all of those.
It looks like there's one titled All by Myself.
Oh yeah,
That's so cute.
I had that one.
Yeah.
It was cute. Yeah. There's a lot of really cute ones in that series, to be honest.
Okay.
Another fun little series is Mr. Men by Roger Hargreaves.
Okay. I don't know this
If you're
one.
not familiar with it, you should also look it up. Because I need you to see because these are children's books,
Okay.
I need you to be able to experience this with me. You know? They're very visual age group.
Oh my god, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Okay.
That too.
All right. I remember those in my like grade 2 class.
Exactly. So all of the Mr. Men books are square.
Mm-hmm.
There's Mr. Men and there's Little Misses, and they are all just blocky shapes and colors. And they're basically Smurfs. They're basically Smurfs because it's like Mr. Grumpy, Mr. Angry, Miss Sunshine, or Little Miss Sunshine, etc., etc. They're basically Smurfs.
Okay.
Except they're all their own colors. And that's just another one that I have really fond memories of. Again, along the same lines of, teaching your children not to be assholes type books, which cannot support enough overall.
Yeah.
Teach your children not to be assholes. Good
Of
life
course.
lessons.
Yeah.
Which is basically, the gist of all of this. But so far, Joe's doing pretty good. So he's got some good books, I've made sure. I also have on here Charlotte's Web by E.B. White.
Of course.
Which is a little higher grade, but, it's mandatory.
Yeah. 100%.
What child does not read Charlotte's Web?
Yeah.
If you don't know Charlotte's Web, I'm not going to tell you. Look it up. You can personally start beef with me for not explaining this to you, because I want to know if you exist. Anyway, next is...
Okay, you are on some energy today. I love it. You're on some, different energy today, and I'm here for it.
Yeah, I'm going to blame the fire drill at work. It threw me off.
Okay, cool. And the fact that I'm in a different room.
Yeah, oh my god. Hannah's background behind her is a completely different color than I'm used to.
Yeah. It's also bright in here because I have a light on
so
right
bright
here.
Usually she's in this dark office and it's moody. And I'm like, ooh, let me talk about my murder books. And today she's got this bright blue wall, a white closet, says I heart something or other, and it's just like, whoa, girl. I wasn't ready.
I'm in my childhood bedroom is what I am.
Yeah.
I've got these lacy floral curtains.
Childhood bedroom for childhood books.
Well, I thought it would be fitting, and I wanted to try out my laptop because I got it new.
Yes.
And so I just,
I
sorry.
will get used to it. I will adjust. I don't know what's wrong with me.
I'll go back into the dungeon for next week. It'll be fine. Okay, anyways,
oh
continue.
my goodness. Almost through my list, but next I have The Kissing Hand by Audrey Penn. This one is a pair of raccoons, and I remember reading this in first grade and just absolutely loving it. And I think it was like the first book that I like purposefully sought out to own because I have no idea why it was this one, but it just was. However, I remember specifically that my copy of The Kissing Hand came with a sheet of stickers in it, and I never once used any of them because I had anxiety at a very young age.
Oh my God. Like, same, but I didn't think we were going there.
I didn't think so either until it was already happening.
Honestly, we should have known. We honestly, like, anything to do with childhood, we should have known
We
that
should
this was
have
going to
known.
happen. Like, poor
The signs
Joe.
were so loud.
Joe's gonna listen to this one day.
I'm so sorry, Joe. Happy
oh my
birthday.
God, Joe. Happy birthday.
The baby raccoon in The Kissing Hand also had anxiety because he had to go to school or something for the first time, and he had never been alone from his mom. And so his mom gave him a little kiss right in the palm and said, if you hold on to it, I'll be with you all night long. Don't worry. And so it's The Kissing Hand.
That's adorable.
Yeah.
That's the cutest little thing ever.
Mm-hmm.
Aw, I love that.
Yeah, it's a cute one.
That's a good one for Joe, especially.
It is a good one. The Kissing Hand by Audrey Penn. Yeah.
Cute.
And then I have one more. It is not an officially published story per se. And by that I mean not at all, because my papa used to tell me this story before bed. So similar to the whole Guinevere situation, except it was the exact same story all of the time. He did not change it up.
Alrighty.
He wasn't as creative, but he did do voices. He did them so well. But this is The Princess and the Garbage Truck.
Okay.
And so to give you just a brief, summarization of The Princess and the Garbage Truck, there was a princess who lived in a castle, and she was restless, okay? She wanted out, she wanted to go to the village, she wanted to do things, okay? And she had a maid who conveniently looked very similar to her. And so they came up with a plan. And on garbage day, they were going to swap outfits so that the maid would dress like the princess and the princess would dress like the maid. And then the princess, who is dressed as the maid, would go out with the garbage, and then she would beg this random stranger in a garbage truck to take her into town. Okay. And that somehow worked. And so off she went for a great adventure for the day. She, went and bought fruit at the market. She danced in the square. She had a grand old time. However, she lost track of time. Okay. As one does.
As one does. With time blindness, for real.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Especially because this is a medieval story and there weren't watches back then. So.
True. Facts.
She climbs the hill all the way back up to the castle. However, when she gets there, it is far too late, and the drawbridge is up. Okay.
Dun, dun, dun.
She did not make it back in time. And so the princess is stuck outside all night long, and she sits there and she's crying and she goes, "Oh, I can't believe I did this. Oh, I'm such a silly little goose. Oh, I can't believe I didn't appreciate what I had, and now I'm just sitting here cold." And then morning comes and they find her, and I'm not honestly sure what the moral of the story is here, because it's kind of just appreciate it when you're rich and pretty. But I feel like there's got to be more to it than that.
It's probably like the grass isn't always greener kind of thing.
Yeah, I think it is. So that's basically The Princess and the Garbage Truck by Peter L. Swanson. There's definitely more story to it than that. And it's a book that I think would be so lovely to get published one day. But that day is far off still, so we'll see. But I think it would be really cool if I did make that happen.
Very
Yeah.
cool.
So, happy birthday, Joe. Those are my book recs.
Okay, so you've got early childhood covered. I have like mid to late childhood covered because we didn't communicate, as we said. But I'm glad that
It's been a busy week.
you know what? I'm actually glad that it turned out this way. So I'm gonna pick it up from where you left off there.
Hell yeah.
With, to start, the Magic Treehouse series by Mary Pope Osborne. Did you read the Magic Treehouse books?
I need to look really quick because, to be honest, the title sounds familiar, but I can't picture it.
The first one is called Dinosaurs Before Dark.
Oh, you know what? There was a show about this, was there not?
I have no
I think
idea.
I watched the show, but I don't think I read the books.
Okay, well,
I think there was an animated show.
okay. So, the description for you, because I actually wrote down the proper descriptions because I didn't think that I would be able to do it well.
Yeah, some of us prepared tonight.
You know what?
Guess who?
We switched roles for some reason this evening.
Yeah, I brought some energy.
Yeah, you did, and I'm here for it.
Yeah.
So the description for the Magic Treehouse, this is for the first book, Dinosaurs Before Dark. Where did the treehouse come from? Before Jack and Annie can find out, the mysterious treehouse whisks them to the prehistoric past. Now they have to figure out how to get home. Can they do it before dark, or will they become a dinosaur's dinner? So basically, the Magic Treehouse books are these two kids find this treehouse in the woods that is full of storybooks, and when they open the books, they are transported to whatever time period the book is set in, and then they go on adventures. And the first one, obviously, things go horribly awry because they haven't learned the powers of the treehouse yet, so they end up almost getting eaten by dinosaurs.
Whoa.
These books were my first introduction to magic when I was first reading chapter books when I was really young. And I think that experience in general is just a rite of passage for young readers. And
Totally.
like discovering magic for the first time in that way. And I feel like these books are like such a good way to do that. These are also good books for reading to kids, like even if they're too young to read them themselves. They make good like bedtime stories, and they have at least some interest to them, so you're not totally bored out of your mind as a parent reading them. And there's like a gajillion of them, so like you have content for ages. For sure.
It's giving Doctor Who for kids.
Yeah, kinda. And honestly, in the late stage capitalist world of endless commodification and consumption, these books, I feel, spark imagination and creativity in a way that I think is essential for kids now more than ever. Because, like, when I was a kid, it was just, like, you know, discovering magic and imagination and stuff for the first time. And I feel like now, currently, in the world we're in, that's even more important than it used to be. And so I just wanted to mention the Magic Treehouse series.
Beautiful.
Yeah. In a similar vein of, like, finding everyday magic kind of a thing, my next one is a classic, actually. It's called The Borrowers by Mary Norton. And the description is, the Borrowers, the Clock family, Homily Pod and their 14-year-old daughter Ariette, to be precise, are tiny people who live underneath the kitchen floor of an old English country manor. All their minuscule home furnishings, from postage stamp paintings to champagne cork chairs, are borrowed, quote-unquote, from the human beings, quote-unquote, who tromp around loudly above them. All is well until Pod is spotted upstairs by a human boy. Can the clocks stay nested safely in their beloved hidden home, or will they be forced to flee?
I didn't know this story from the name, but as soon as you started describing it, I was like, oh my god, I know this.
Yeah. It's a classic. It's a classic.
It's so good.
Yeah. This book is my favorite of the children's classics that I've read personally. It's very Night of the Museum, Toy Story, the statues come alive at night, but also like a quirky answer to the question of like where things go when we lose them. Because I feel like that's a common wondering. And I think that's really fun. And it's also sort of thought-provoking in a context that's easily digestible for kids. And so I feel like it's very good for the little brain.
Nice.
Yeah. So that's The Borrowers. Then, in terms of, like, following, again, the whole good for the little brain, this was actually a recent read. I did not read this as a kid. This was recommended to me by a man that I met, and he recommended it to me because I was said that I liked reading, and he was like, oh, like, did you ever read these? And I was like, no, I haven't, but now I will. And I did. And it ended up being like YA middle grade. Like, it's a little bit older, but I think that it's good, especially for Joe. I think that this is like a solid read. So the description, well, first of all, the title. Oh my god, I need to go back. Hold on.
I'm on the edge of my seat.
The series is called The Tripods, and the first book is called The White Mountains. It's by John Christopher. And the description is, Will Parker never dreamed he would be the one to rebel against the tripods. With the approach of his 13th birthday, he expected to attend his capping ceremony as planned and to become connected to the tripods, huge three-legged machines that now control all of Earth. But after an encounter with a strange homeless man called Beanpole, Will sets out for the White Mountains, where people are said to be free from the control of the tripods. But even with the help of Beanpole and his friends, the journey is long and hard, and with the tripods hunting for anyone who tries to break free, Will must reach the White Mountains fast. But the longer he's away from his home, the more the tripods look for him, and no one can hide from the monstrous machines forever. And the note I made was baby's first dystopian.
Yes.
Baby's first dystopian. Okay, this book, like I said, was a recent read. I didn't actually read it as a kid, but I wish I had, especially knowing the little weirdo that I was. But it has surprising, I mention this specifically because it has surprising thematic and emotional depth, especially for a book made for kids. It was written in the 60s, I believe. Like, it's older.
Okay.
And it was written back when we still trusted readers to have critical thinking skills.
Jokes.
It's very also thought-provoking in a way that teaches kids to question things and use their own critical thinking and not only draw their own conclusions from their interactions with the world, but also act on what they think is right. And I think those are all really great messages for young kids. Again, especially now. And also it's sci-fi. It's a cool little concept, like the rise of the machines, like very, but also like aliens, like it's not super clear like what these machines are or where they came from. It's just about this 13-year-old kid being like, wait a minute. Hold on, actually. And also it's like very much the kids are on their own because like all the adults are strapped into this like hive mind situation that they're in. Yeah. And so it's like the kid's on their own, like the kid is solving the thing. And I feel like that is really popular and common for like readers who are like age 9 to 12, I think. Mm-hmm. So as far as like middle grade goes, I think it's a really good one, especially for nerdy little weirdos.
Which Joe will definitely
be. I am calling it right now.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, so
I know both of his parents very well. He is definitely going to be a weirdo.
Well, that's great. So the tripods, baby's first dystopian. I feel like, great. You know, it's a little bit darker, but it's good in like a philosophical way. But it's also at the same time, like we're following this main character who is just experiencing like being a kid at the same time. Like he ends up traveling with Beanpole, who is actually named Jean-Paul, but they can't pronounce it right, so they're just calling him Beanpole.
Hell yeah. My kind of comedy.
Yeah. And then his cousin. So this is like who he ends up traveling with. And you have the inner monologue of Will watching Beanpole and his cousin become really good friends, and he's like weirdly getting jealous of it and feeling left out. You know, it's like things that are so like integral to being a kid that there's like a really good balance of that between the thematic depth that's going on. And so I think that it's just really well done. And it's a series, but I feel like you could stop after the first one if you wanted to. Like it kind of stands on its own, but
I appreciate those. They give you the option.
There are more. Yeah, there are the option. So that's a good one. Definitely not a bedtime book. This is like elementary school reading, in my opinion, personally.
I love that.
And I loved it. I had a good time with it, and I'm 24. So, and then similar age category, I also have The Land of Stories on here. It's a series by Chris Colfer. The first book is called The Wishing Spell. And this one is, similar age category, like maybe you're still reading bedtime stories, sort of like a play on fairy tales kind of a thing, but similar age group. So the description of the first book is Alex and Connor Bailey's world is about to change in this fast-paced adventure that uniquely combines our modern-day world with the enchanting realm of classic fairy tales. The Land of Stories tells the tale of twins Alex and Connor. Through the mysterious powers of a cherished book of stories, they leave their world behind and find themselves in a foreign land full of wonder and magic, where they come face to face with fairy tale characters they grew up reading about. But after a series of encounters with witches, wolves, goblins, and trolls alike, getting back home is going to be harder than they thought. So, like, kids fall into a storybook, experience fairy tales. Like, I feel like that's just so wholesome and such a classic. And, like, there's also, like, an overarching mystery that's happening throughout the series. And there's, like, plot twists and, like, little reveals, but at the same time, there's all the nostalgia of, like, classic fairy tales. It's a good intro to fantasy.
Legit story.
Yeah, it's, like, legit a storybook.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, so I like it a lot. And, again, because of, like, the plot twists and stuff, the intrigue, it's a little bit... It's fun for the whole family, you know? Like, I feel like... I imagine someone reading this to, like, multiple kids of varying ages, and everyone just is having a good time. Because I feel like it's just it's a good intro to magic and fairy tales. And I think that that's just essential for childhood. So I think that's a good one for Joe. Eventually.
Hell yeah.
When he's a little older.
Eventually.
He's one currently. He won't know what you're talking about, but
right now he just really likes music.
Which is fantastic. I love that for him. I hope that he becomes
he's got a little DJ table for his birthday.
Oh my god, that's adorable. Ah, yeah. Little Joe.
I mean, to be clear, all of my gifts to him so far have been books over the past year. I gave him books on the day he was born. Wow. And it was 6 original Winnie the Pooh stories.
Wow.
Yeah.
Winnie the Pooh is such a classic too. How do we not talk about that? Winnie the Pooh, 100%.
Winnie the Pooh. Yeah. Joe has had it since he was about 6 minutes old. So
Way to go, Joe. Get on it.
It was his first books.
Gotta get reading them.
Yeah, I was snappy with that shit.
Yeah. All right. Well, in a similar vein of like a little bit older, I feel like the series you could probably start a little bit younger, and I'm going to explain why. But the next series I have is a series of unfortunate events. The first book is called The Bad Beginning by Lemony Snicket. Mm-hmm. And the description is, Violet, Klaus, and Sunny Baudelaire are intelligent children. They are charming and resourceful and have pleasant facial features. Unfortunately, they are exceptionally unlucky. In the first 2 books alone, the 3 youngsters encounter a greedy and repulsive villain, itchy clothing, a disastrous fire, a plot to steal their fortune, a lumpy bed, a deadly serpent, a large brass reading lamp, a long knife, and a terrible door.
Oh my god, it was bad as soon as you said itchy clothing.
Oh my god, door. Literally, it's odor. Terrible odor.
A terrible door.
No, and I didn't question it.
It is locked.
No.
There's no key.
Listen, I'm going to tell you why I didn't question it, because I've read them and there is also a terrible door.
4 padlocks.
Oh my god, that's so embarrassing. I'm gonna leave that in, whatever.
That's hilarious.
There is also a terrible door, though, believe me.
Okay. Wonderful.
But anyways, some part of me believes that this book is in existence solely to make precocious young children feel seen and understood, and to make kids in tough situations feel some sense of hope. And I think that hope, reading about and seeing representations of that kind of hope and that kind of like facing adversity and that resilience, I think is healthy. Even though it is a little bit darker, I would read this to a kid like a little bit younger. And also I think that elementary school aged kids have become a little bit too insulated lately. At least that's been my experience volunteering with like elementary school age kids. And so I think these books are a good safe place for them to encounter some darkness in a controlled and healthy way.
Hell yeah.
I think that's a good thing. You know, I feel like these books also provide a lot of like conversation space about like teaching kids about grief, teaching kids about death, teaching kids about like, you know, these like hard hitting things that as much as we try and keep kids protected from, like, you know, every kid experiences at some point like their grandma dies or they lose their pet or something happens where like, you know, it's hard to explain to them like what's happening and explain to them grief. And I feel like that's where books like this come in. And so that's why I wanted to throw it out there, because I think that we all know I don't deny any negative emotions, you know, like it's all part of the human experience, and we need to be honoring and respecting and validating all aspects of it, even the darker ones. And I think that this series does a good job of doing that in a silly, goofy way that's still a good time, but still gets the message across. And so that's why I wanted to mention that one. Because, you know, you got to prepare them.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's one that I'm surprised that I haven't read, to be honest.
I was surprised too that you haven't read it. I haven't read the whole series, but I did read them. I read the first few as a kid. I know that for sure. And then in a similar vein of darkness, I threw Goosebumps by R.L. Stein on this list.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. We're doing a reread right now.
God. I have to say this.
Okay, go.
I recently came into possession of Jared's old collection of Goosebumps, and he was a collector as a child. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
He, like, every year our city has like a book donation sale, so like you can get like $2 books. It's fantastic. And so he would stock up on Goosebumps at the sale every year. And so there's probably about 100 Goosebumps books. And I have started with, I don't remember the name of it, but it's the one about Slappy.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So that is just incredible fortune that I had to share recently.
Yes. Yeah, I'm very jealous. I have also my collection, but it's not nearly as vast.
The Slappy book lights up.
That's probably worth something, honestly.
It probably is. I know. I like pushed the button once and Jared just went, "Don't kill the batteries."
Oh my God. What a little weirdo.
And I went, "I'm going to push it one more time to take a video of it." And he went, "Fine."
Oh my gosh. What a little nerd. I love him.
Yeah. He's so silly.
Well, I've started my reread doing them in order. And in order of original publishing. And
wow.
I've been reading them on Kindle because I can't be arsed to dig out my Goosebumps. I don't even think I have them in order. I was just buying them randomly because I wasn't nearly as anal about that when I was a kid. I would just buy whatever was at the thrift store, but I wanted to read them in order because there is some like, it's like some of them are series. Like there is a Slappy series and there's this, like Say Cheese and Die is also a mini series within.
Yeah, I'm reading all 3 of the Slappies. It's all 3 in one book.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. So, the first book is Welcome to Dead House is the first one. I just finished Say Cheese and Die today, actually. And then I bought the next one. It's The Curse of the Mummy's Tomb, I think is next. But the description of the first book in the series is, when their father inherits an old house in the town of Dark Falls, Amanda and Josh are excited until they begin to suspect that the house is haunted. Short and sweet, very simple. It gets real creepy.
Wow. To the point.
Yeah. It gets real creepy. Just wanted to mention these because these books hold a very special place in my heart as some of the most comforting reads when I was a weird little kid hiding in the library, just absolutely devouring these morbid little tales. And I just think in general, I can't even describe it. Like maybe it's just the 90s nostalgia or what. Like I don't know what it is. But R.L. Stein really did something special with these and they just don't make them like that anymore.
Oh my God. Just his like lowest effort writing ever was so funny though. Like the one I'm reading right now, you know what he named the dog? Barky. He put no effort in. None at all. He just went, "I need a dog name. What sound does a dog make?" That'll do. And kept going.
Yeah, I listened to the Overdue Pod episodes on Goosebumps. They did a mini podcast within a podcast called Goosebumps, and they read the first 10, I think, and did 2 per
Nice.
episode. And it was such a joy. And that's honestly, they're the reason that I started my reread, because I was like, okay,
I love those
I gotta
guys.
get on this.
Andrew
Yeah.
and Craig.
Yeah, they're great. They're great. And so highly recommend listening to those episodes as well, because they're really, really good. And they like address that, and they also go into like some interviews with the author and some background information, because I believe the author was a teacher.
Maybe I should listen.
Yeah,
to
you
those.
should
That
you
sounds
should
great.
definitely give it a listen. Yeah. Because they also go into like how like he's said that it only took him like 8 days to write a Goosebumps book. Like
Yeah, I bet.
yeah.
It's because he's naming the dog Sparky.
Yeah. And they just don't make him like that anymore. Like there is nothing currently being published for kids that is
No.
comparable to what R.L. Stine did with Goosebumps. And I feel like just again, like introducing some
cheated.
darkness, introducing some like, you know, kind of campy horror. Like it's great.
Yeah.
I think it's
exactly.
awesome. And or like
Yeah.
like the Fear Street
Oh, yeah.
whole situation. Yeah. Those movies are also fantastic. Love those. But anyways, Goosebumps, had to mention it
Yeah.
because I think that's essential for Joe's well-being, and also essential for Joe's well-being. Okay. And this is my last one. This is my last little 2 cents. I have to mention Percy Jackson by Rick Riordan. The whole Camp Half-Blood multiverse in general, multi-series, chef's kiss. Okay, you gotta. The first one is called The Lightning Thief, as I'm sure we all know. And the description of the first book is: Percy Jackson is a good kid, but he can't seem to focus on his schoolwork or control his temper, and lately being away at boarding school is only getting worse. Percy could have sworn his pre-algebra teacher turned into a monster and tried to kill him. When Percy's mom finds out, she knows it's time that he knew the truth about where he came from and that he go to the one place he'll be safe. She sends Percy to Camp Half-Blood, a summer camp for demigods on Long Island, where he learns that the father he never knew is Poseidon, god of the sea. Soon a mystery unfolds, and together with his friends, one a satyr and the other a demigod daughter of Athena, Percy sets out on a quest across the United States to reach the gates of the underworld, located in a recording studio in Hollywood, and prevent a catastrophic war between the gods.
Yo, as soon as you said that the one place that he would be safe is fucking Long Island, oh my god.
That's just where the camp is. In the woods, like glamored, so nobody can find it and only half-bloods can enter.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and listen,
Yeah.
this is another older read. Okay. Actually, you could probably read it on younger too, but like, you have to be, the kid has to at least be,
We're starting the brainwashing young so that by the time he's old enough to read it,
exactly.
it's, you know,
Exactly.
we're gonna run with it.
Yeah, I've kind of gone in chronological order of like age when I think you should read these, and I think this is the oldest one I have. But I just want Joe to be a Percy Jackson kid. I'm going to be so honest with you guys. I just want him to be a Percy Jackson kid.
See it.
And I'm not sorry about it. It's for his own good.
There we go.
Also, the representation, the dyslexia and ADHD representation.
Hell yeah.
Awesome. That's fantastic. And
Great.
it's got such an imagination. Baby's first classical studies as well. With like, you know, Greek and Roman mythology. And which actually genuinely reading these books, having read these books came in handy when I genuinely took a university Greek and Roman mythology course, because it like fully oriented me to like who these characters are. And then when we actually got into like the Odyssey and stuff, I'm like, oh, I remember that. I'm like, oh my god, that's crazy.
That's so funny.
They're not actually that far off in terms of like
first book to read, Percy
accurate.
Jackson. Second book, the Iliad.
Yeah. So yeah, Percy Jackson is just a good one. It's fun. It's got some great representation. It is relatively inclusive of like kids and kids being kids and, you know, being quote unquote troubled and like being misunderstood as a kid, and like it tackles all that stuff, and friendship and you know, power, and like the power there is in leaning on your friends, but also the power within. And like, it just generally sends a lot of really great messages for kids around that age. I think the age category officially for Percy Jackson is also 9 to 12.
Nice.
Because
Yeah.
I think Percy
That
Jackson
sounds
is
right.
12 in the first book, and then he's 17 in the last one.
Mm.
Something like that. So, like, you kind of grow up with Percy Jackson. That's another one. That's
With
why I
him.
put this at the end of the list, because, like, you start it when you're 12, but, like, if you keep reading them, like, you know,
Yep.
you kind of
Yep.
grow up with Percy Jackson, and I think
Oh.
that would be really great. So,
That would be so cool.
yeah. So, that's my
Cool.
last one.
Fun. While you were presenting, I recalled a series that I was really into when I was around 5 to 8 that I feel like you're just gonna have a little giggle at,
Okay.
because I sincerely doubt that you've heard of this series, but you're gonna think that it's the most Jess kids book there is, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And so I need you to look up the Black Lagoon books.
I think I know exactly what you're talking about.
I had 3 of them, and I can tell you exactly which ones I had. I had the gym teacher from the Black Lagoon, I had the dentist from the Black Lagoon, and I had the class pet from the Black Lagoon. And it's basically just like, what if this random figure in your life was actually basically a swamp monster?
Okay. I feel like I've learned so much about you in this episode, and suddenly everything about you makes so much sense.
Yeah, it's all clicking into place now, isn't
It
it?
is. Now suddenly it is all clicking into place.
I read these books almost daily.
Yeah. You know what? I can see it. I
Mhm.
believe you.
Mhm. Those were my favorite books as a young child.
See, I just said all of my favorites, and they also check out with how
Mhm.
magical fantasy girl I am now.
Yeah. So this is where we learn that, your book tastes develop early.
Yeah, or maybe perhaps the books you have access to as a child affect your book taste later in life.
You're easily brainwashed.
Yeah.
Watch out, Joe.
Yeah, Joe.
You're in danger.
Joe, you're gonna be a Percy Jackson kid if it's the last thing I do. Watch Joe grow up to be some kind of class athlete quarterback, the most dude
Oh my God,
broiest
that'd be
guy
so
ever.
weird.
Could you
That'd
imagine?
be so weird. Joe, I'd still love you, but I hope not. Read a book. Just read a book.
Joe, we love you anyways. However, we want better for you than being a himbo.
Yeah.
And so that's why we're
exactly.
here telling you all
Beautifully
these books
said.
now. Yes.
Yeah. We're encouraging healthy habits, healthy hobbies.
Yes, healthy hobbies. Hobbies in general. Do you have any idea how many
Not
kids
to
I've
say
met that have no
sports
hobbies?
aren't healthy, but
Sports are healthy. Do sports also. I did do sports. They were just
Do
solitary.
do both.
Be a well-rounded kid.
Yeah. Have multiple hobbies. Join some clubs.
Yeah.
Enjoy yourself.
With this mix of books, you'd be well on your way to be a well-rounded kid.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. You get a little bit of fantasy, a little bit of adventure, a little bit of spooky, scary, a little bit of life lessons.
That's what children's
That's
books
all
are
you
all
need.
about.
Yeah. Period.
Happy birthday, Joe.
Happy birthday, Joe. Love you, little dude.
Mm-hmm. Never met you. You don't know who I am, but that's okay. You're important, Jess, so that's all I need to know.
Yeah. We had such a good time at his birthday party last weekend.
That's good.
He had a barbecue. He was the only baby there, so he didn't have many friends, but that's
Aw.
okay. Don't tell him that.
Little
No,
Joe.
don't. I was his friend. I sat on the ground with him, and he was really confused about that. But
Oh, Joe.
yeah, he's really funny because a lot of the time he just looks like an old man that's 57 and only half heard you. And so he just looks at you
Huh?
uh.
Oh
And
my
the only
gosh.
sound that he'll respond to is if you go, ah, 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 ah. And then he'll go, ah, 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 back
So
at you.
we're starting
But
the
that's
screamo early.
Yeah. So if you go, oh, ah, 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 he's having a great time. And he goes, DJ table now.
Oh my God, Joe, what a little dude.
Yeah, he's so funny.
That's so cute.
So happy birthday, Joe.
Happy birthday, Joe. Hope you like these books whenever you're old enough to read them. And when you are old enough to read them, email me.
And if you are old enough to have read them, or if you have other ideas, or if there's books that we missed that you think Joe also needs, email us at badlyannotedpod@gmail.com or send us a message on Instagram or Threads at badlyannotedpod. And all of our links are available through the link in our Instagram bio. But with that, best of wishes, kindest of regards.
Sincerely, Jess and Hannah.